Hi guys, in this video I'm going to show you how you can reuse tests and assertions in Postman so that you don't repeat yourself. Hey, what's going on? My name is Valentine and I wanted to show you in this video a nice Postman hack which allows you to write a series of tests once and reuse them in multiple requests. You probably have a couple of similar assertions. Probability of status code is 200, response time is under 200 milliseconds, maybe a content type header and something like that. So in this video I will show you how you can write them once and reuse them anytime you need them. This will also work for any piece of JavaScript code you are writing, so feel free to experiment with your own setup. Now I'm already assuming that you know how scripts and tests work, and with that being said, let's dive into it.
So let's have a sneak peek on how this actually works. As you can see, I have one request where I have defined all my tests, and in the other request I'm just in one line reusing the same tests I have written before. So if I run any of the tests here, you will see that they are actually executing the assertions that I have previously defined. So this works quite good. If you haven't noticed already, we will be achieving this functionality by leveraging the eval function and global or environment variables. But let's first start by defining some tests. So let's imagine we are sending this request to example.com. And let's just add a couple of simple tests here. So I'll be using the snippets panel to add some tests. And I will have here three tests. So one is asserting that the status code is 200, the other one that the content type is present. Let me just simply check that it's present. Yes. And the other one is checking that the response time is below 200 milliseconds. So what I want to do right now is to put all the tests in a function. Let me quickly fix the indentation here. Okay, so this will be an anonymous function. And next I will put this anonymous function in a local variable. Let's call that variable common-tests. Now, if I simply run this request again, you'll notice that there were no tests executed. So in case I want to run this test again, in this case, I'll have to grab the common-test variable and call the anonymous function. And you'll see the tests are running again. So what we achieved so far is to put all the tests that we are interested in an anonymous function, and that function is placed inside a local variable. Now the next step would be to get that local variable and save it in environment variable so that any other requests inside the collection will be able to access the same information. So let me just set an environment variable. Delete this. Let's call the environment variable common tests as well. And as a value, I'll put a local variable common tests, but additionally, I need to make sure that this will be saved as a string. So I'll be calling the toString method. It really doesn't matter if I put this in an environment or in a global variable. It's totally up to you. In this case, I just wanted to try this environment variable so that any other common tests don't conflict between the collections or something like that. Let's go ahead and save these requests. I'm gonna create another collection. And then let me quickly create a new empty environment. This is the reusing tests environment. And what you will notice after I run this request, that first of all, there are no tests being executed, and that's not a problem. But if I inspect the environment variables, you will see now that the environment variable common tests has a string with the exact contents that we written here. As a matter of fact, it doesn't make a big difference where I'm actually setting the environment variable. I can set it in a pre-request script. That's absolutely no problem. The good thing, if you're writing it inside the test tab initially, is that you can access all the snippets and work with them much easily. But from the Postman point of view, it doesn't really matter where this is set. It's important where the execution takes place. So the context of the execution needs to be after the request was completed, because that's the only part when the test can actually run. So just to make it much easier to read, I will just move everything to the pre-request script. And now that I have this environment variable here, I need to figure out, at least for the first request, how to actually run the tests. Now, let's get the environment variable that we have already set. And just by getting that variable, we don't accomplish anything, and even trying to call a callback function, it will not work. So we need another trick in this case. So this is basically at the core of reusing code, reusing tests, reusing everything in this case. So we're going to use the eval function to evaluate the contents that we've written in a string, so that it becomes, so that the code is executed again. Now if I run this again, I will see that the tests are now passing. Once we have introduced eval in the editor, Postman will show you a warning. So let me explain a bit what this means. Now, to keep it very simple, eval is eval, and to understand it better, eval is an evaluation function. It's taking JavaScript code as a string. So you saw previously we saved the anonymous function in a local variable and we stringified and saved it. And you know, just to put it simple, eval is evil, or can at least be evil. So put inside the eval function only pieces of code that you have written or that you totally trust. Eval can be very powerful, but at the same time can cause a lot of damage. Eval is really a dangerous function because it can execute any code just as if you are the one running the code. So the warning that Postman is showing you is totally justified at this point. Okay, so the tests are getting executed. All I have to do in this case, let's imagine that we create another request. This is the second request here. Let's call it example 2. And so the pre-request script is no longer there. This. Great. So let's imagine that we call another address and we just simply copy and paste the same assertions that we previously used. For whatever reason, we are assuming that we'll get to 200, which will not be the case. When I run this request, you'll see that some of the assertions failed, but this is just to demonstrate that it's actually working and is not showing the same results or something like that. So you can reuse it as much as you like, as long as what you have initially written as a common test matches all the requests that you need. I hope you find this useful, and I think this is a great way to reduce the amount of code you are writing, but at the same time to make sure that you're thoroughly testing everything which is necessary.
Hi guys, thanks a lot for watching. If you find this video helpful, just give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment in the section below. I'm really looking forward to any questions. If you're having any problems with Postman or anything similar, just drop me a comment. I will create another tutorial on that question as well. Thank you for watching and see you at the next video.